A sharp kick at the side of Mr. Daniel's leg while he was quietly eating his lunch, and his body jerked, sending half the food on the tray, sliding across the table. The cafeteria went silent for a fraction of a second. Then a murmur rippled through the crowd. The boy who had done it, Liam, smirked like he owned the place, leaning back with that familiar arrogance that made people step aside without thinking. "What's the matter, old man? Can't handle a little push?" He sneered loud enough for nearby students to hear. Mr. Daniel didn't flinch. He set the tray down slowly, wiped a bit of spilled food off the table, and looked at Liam with the calmest expression anyone had ever seen in the school. Nothing in his face suggested anger, pain, or surprise. Just quiet, measured observation. That look alone made a few students shift in their seats, unsure if they should laugh or freeze. If you want to see how this unfolds and what happens next, make sure you subscribe now. By morning, Mr. Daniel had walked into history class like any ordinary substitute. Liam had noticed him immediately. The quiet black man in his mid-40s with a composed posture and a steady gaze that didn't flinch under scrutiny. "Good morning," Mr. Daniel said, his voice low but clear. "Please take your seats and settle down." Students shuffled around, whispers passing quietly from one to another while Liam leaned back in his chair, rolling his eyes. "Another one who thinks he can teach us," he muttered to the kid next to him. "Sir, are you filling in all day?" Someone asked from the front. "Yes," Mr. Daniel replied calmly. "Let's make this productive. If you need clarification, speak up." Liam couldn't resist. "Productive? We'll see about that," he said, a grin forming, like he was already planning to make this day miserable. "Mr. Daniel glanced at him once, steady and unwavering, and returned to his lesson. The classroom settled, students curious about the strange composure he carried. When the lesson began, Mr. Daniel spoke slowly, clearly, but without dramatics. "History isn't just dates and names," he said. "It's about understanding choices and consequences. Listen carefully, and you'll see patterns that matter today." "Do you always talk like that?" the student asked. "Yes," Mr. Daniel replied simply. "Clarity helps everyone follow along. If I move too quickly, tell me." Liam snorted under his breath. "This is going to be fun," he muttered loud enough for half the room to hear. "Mr. Daniel didn't react, letting the comment hang, his calm presence already unsettling in a way Liam couldn't understand. By lunch, Liam had found his target. The quiet man sitting alone at a table, eating slowly and methodically, seemed defenseless, but Mr. Daniel's stillness was far from weakness. Liam smirked, thinking it would be an easy joke, a moment to humiliate someone without consequence. Liam leaned back in his chair, arms crossed, smirking at Mr. Daniel like he had already won. "So, Mr. Calm and Collected," he said, voice carrying just enough for half the class to hear. "How long are you going to stand there pretending to care about history?" His friends snickered, nudging each other, waiting for a reaction. Mr. Daniel didn't flinch. He kept his gaze steady on the papers in front of him, then slowly looked up. "I'm here to help everyone learn," he said evenly. "Not to argue with someone who thinks mocking is a lesson." Liam laughed, leaning further back. "Mocking? I'm not mocking. Just pointing out that some of you can't even keep the class awake." A few students snickered quietly, but no one dared meet his eyes. "Come on. Seriously, what is this? History or nap time?" Mr. Daniel didn't raise his voice. He just folded his hands and said, "History is exactly what I teach. And if you listen, you might find it more interesting than you expect." Liam rolled his eyes, leaning toward his friend. "Betty doesn't even know what he's talking about. Watch this." He called out again, louder this time. "Hey, slow talk. Can you speed it up a bit? Maybe even make it exciting if that's possible." The class tensed. Everyone waited, expecting a harsh reaction, but Mr. Daniel's voice remained calm. "Learning is most effective when it's understood, not rushed. You can speak up if you need a faster pace." Liam smirked, clearly frustrated that his usual tricks weren't working. "Oh, we can speak up. All right then. Tell me, why do we even need to learn all this stuff from hundreds of years ago?" Mr. Daniel paused, letting the question hang, then replied evenly. Because history shapes the decisions you make today, knowing it gives you perspective. A hand went up in the middle row. So it actually matters, a student asked, genuinely curious. Mr. Daniel nodded. Exactly. It matters more than you realize. Ignoring lessons only ensures mistakes repeat themselves. Liam snorted, leaning on his desk, but the smirk faltered slightly. Sure, perspective. Whatever. I guess some people think they're smarter than everyone. Mr. Daniel looked at him, eyes steady. Smartness doesn't come from loud voices or quick comebacks. It comes from understanding, listening, and thinking critically. You mean like you calm and collected? Liam said, trying to edge back into mockery. Mr. Daniel tilted his head slightly. Still calm, still unshaken. I'm here to teach, not to compete with anyone's attitude. Liam's friends exchanged nervous glances, unsure what to say. One whispered, He's not even mad. How's he not mad? Liam's jaw tightened, and for the first time that day he realized this wasn't going to be easy. He had pushed teachers, students, and even staff before. But this quiet man didn't play by the usual rules. Fine, Liam muttered, leaning back fully. We'll see how long your calm lasts, old man. Bet it cracks sooner or later. Mr. Daniel didn't respond immediately. He simply smiled faintly and continued the lesson, pacing slowly, drawing diagrams and explaining details with a precision that kept the class engaged. The tension remained thick but controlled as Liam shifted in his chair, already plotting his next move, unaware that the quiet patience in front of him was the first step toward turning the day entirely upside down. Mr. Daniel walked slowly through the hallway during passing period, hands folded behind his back, eyes scanning everything. Students rushed past, books and arms, laughing and talking loudly. But he noticed the subtleties, how some kids avoided eye contact, how others froze when Liam passed by, and how a few teachers barely looked up when the chaos in the hall escalated. One student muttered, "Why is he just watching?" to his friend, and the friend shrugged.
I don't know, man.
He's weird. Mr. Daniel paused near a locker and leaned slightly, listening to a group of students whispering. Did you see what he did in class? Nobody even made him mad, said one boy. I know, the other replied. It's like he's untouchable. Mr. Daniel stepped away, moving toward the cafeteria doorway. He spotted Liam strutting down the hall, a smug grin plastered on his face as other students hurried to get out of his way. A teacher tried to call him back. Liam, please. But he waved the teacher off with a laugh and kept walking. Mr. Daniel's gaze followed him calmly, noting the way the bully carried power, simply by intimidation. He stopped by a bench and watched a few students scroll on their phones, pretending not to notice, while a smaller boy shifted uncomfortably, glancing over at Liam as if expecting trouble. Can't they just leave me alone? The boy whispered to no one in particular. Mr. Daniel crouched slightly, speaking softly. You'll be okay. Just keep calm and stay aware. The boy blinked startled, then nodded quickly and went back to his locker. Mr. Daniel continued moving, pausing near a classroom door where a teacher looked stressed while trying to manage a rowdy group. Why is it always him? The teacher muttered under her breath. A student nearby added, Everyone just lets him do whatever he wants. Mr. Daniel's lips pressed together, but he didn't speak. He only observed, storing details, noticing patterns, understanding the dynamics without making a sound. In the library, he saw students whispering, glancing toward the hallway. Liam's around once said, another muttered, Better stay quiet. Mr. Daniel approached, crouched near a table, and asked gently, Are you all right? Do you need help with anything? The group looked surprised, then nodded hesitantly. Thank you, sir, one whispered. By the time lunch rolled around, Mr. Daniel had a full picture. He stood near the cafeteria entrance, eyes following every move, noticing who avoided confrontation, who stayed silent, and who fed the tension without realizing it. A group of students whispered about Liam's antics, and one muttered, He's unstoppable. Mr. Daniel's response was quiet but firm as he passed by. No one is untouchable if you stay aware and act wisely. He paused at a corner, folding his arms. Liam entered, flanked by his usual friends, smirking, confident. Mr. Daniel watched him, calm but measured as if already planning a way to shift the energy. A student nudged another. "Why isn't he doing anything?" they asked. "Because he's waiting," the other whispered. "And he knows exactly what to do next." Mr. Daniel's gaze stayed on Liam, steady, unshaken, silently calculating every move, every reaction, and every moment he could use to turn the tables. By now, the tension was barely visible, but palpable, and everyone near him felt it without understanding why. He didn't speak much, but when he did, it was precise and commanding, revealing the depth of someone who had already seen the entire day's game and knew how it would end. Liam spotted Mr. Daniel sitting alone at a table, his lunch tray neatly arranged, untouched by the chaos around him. "Look at him," Liam whispered to his friends, nudging one of them, sitting there like he owns the place, but he can't even defend himself. His friend chuckled, glancing at Mr. Daniel. "He looks calm, but come on, man. He's just a sub. Easy target." Liam strode toward the table, shoving a chair back carelessly. "Hey, teacher man," he called out, voice loud enough for nearby tables to hear. "What's the deal? You're just going to sit there and eat like you're king, or something?" Mr. Daniel didn't flinch. He continued picking at his food, chewing slowly, looking up just long enough to meet Liam's gaze. "I'm enjoying my lunch," he said calmly. "Would you like to join me? Or is there something else on your mind?" Liam's smirk widened. "Oh, I'm on my own agenda," he said, leaning forward. "Maybe I should help you out of that chair. Give you a little push so you understand the rules around here." A few students at nearby tables shifted in their seats, murmuring among themselves. "He's really going to do it," one whispered. Another muttered, "I don't think Mr. Daniel cares." Liam's friends laughed as he took a small step closer. "What's the matter? I can't handle a little contact," he taunted. "Maybe I should make it fun. See if you even flinch." Mr. Daniel placed his fork down, set his hands on the table, and looked at him steadily. "I'm fine, thank you," he said evenly. "I prefer not to escalate things unnecessarily." Liam's face twisted into mock sympathy. "Escalate? You mean like reacting? Come on, don't be shy. Everyone's watching. Stand up for yourself if you can." Mr. Daniel remained still, composed, his eyes locked on Liam. "There's no need for theatrics. You can choose how you act, and I can choose how I respond." Liam's grin faltered for a fraction of a second. Then he laughed louder this time. "All right, old man. Let's see how much of a teacher you really are." Without warning, he swung his leg sharply from the side, connecting with Mr. Daniel's thigh. The impact made the man jerk slightly forward, causing some of the food to spill, splattering the table. Gasps ran through the cafeteria. Students froze, some clutching their trays, others staring wide-eyed at the scene. Liam stood back, chest puffed out, waiting for the reaction he assumed would come. "Huh? See that? Didn't even flinch. Pathetic," he smeared. Mr. Daniel slowly straightened, setting the tray back on the table. His hands were steady, his expression unreadable. "You've made a choice," he said quietly, each word deliberate. "Now we'll see what consequences follow." Liam's friends laughed nervously, unsure if they should continue encouraging him. "Dude, maybe back off," one whispered. "Relax," Liam said. "I still fixed on Mr. Daniel. I've got this under control." Mr. Daniel glanced around the cafeteria calmly, noting every student's reaction. Every teacher observing quietly from the sides. "Control isn't about intimidation," he said softly. "It's about understanding limits and knowing when to act." Liam laughed again, but it was tinged with uncertainty. Limits? Act? What's he even talking about? The tension hung heavy, almost tangible, as Mr. Daniel continued eating, his calmness a stark contrast to the chaos he had just endured. Students watched, whispers spreading, unsure what would happen next, and Liam realized for the first time that he might have underestimated this quiet man completely. The cafeteria door swung open with a firm push, and Principal Raymond stepped inside, his eyes immediately taking in the chaos. He paused, surveying the room, noticing Liam standing over Mr. Daniel's table, smirk fading slightly as the principal's presence filled the space. Liam, Raymond said, voice steady but sharp, cutting through the murmurs. You've gone too far this time. Liam froze, glancing around at the students who had been watching with wide eyes. I was just joking, he said quickly, though his voice lacked conviction. Nothing serious. Raymond's gaze didn't waver. This isn't a joke. Not anymore. His voice rose slightly, demanding attention. Students shuffled uncomfortably, realizing that this moment was different from any usual confrontation. A teacher near the edge of the room muttered under her breath. I've never seen him like this before. Mr. Daniels slowly stood from the table. Trey sat aside, his expression calm but commanding. Liam, he said quietly, almost conversational. I suggest you step back and consider your choices. Liam's smirk returned briefly as though he could still control the situation. Yeah. And what are you going to do? Cry about it. He sneered, glancing at the nearest friends for support. Principal Raymond stepped closer, shoulders squared. Mr. Daniel is not just a substitute, he said, voice carrying over the cafeteria chatter. He is the new principal of this school. I am retiring today, and he will take my place immediately. A collective gasp filled the room. Liam's eyes widened as his confidence faltered. Wait, what? He said, almost whispering. Students around him exchanged looks of disbelief. No way he's the principal. Yes, Mr. Daniel said calmly, his voice even but firm. I've been here observing, learning, and preparing to lead. Your actions have consequences, Liam. This school will no longer be a place where intimidation rules. Liam's friends shuffled nervously. Oh, this isn't what we planned, one muttered. Liam, still in shock, stammered. I didn't know. I mean, Raymond interrupted, voice steady, leaving no room for argument. Liam, you have terrorized your classmates for too long. This ends now. You will face the consequences of your actions. Liam swallowed hard, the usual bravado fading from his expression. Consequences? What do you mean? You're expelled from Crestwood High, Raymond said, voice firm, each word deliberate. Students around the room murmured, some gasping, others whispering in disbelief. Liam's jaw dropped, and his friends looked at him with wide eyes, unable to believe what they were hearing. Mr. Daniel's gaze stayed on him, calm and unwavering. This behavior will not be tolerated, he added. You have choices every day, and today yours led here. Liam's face drained of color, his chest rising and falling as the reality settled in. You can't. This isn't fair, he muttered, voice trembling. Raymond shook his head. Fairness has limits when others are hurt. Actions have consequences. The student sat in silence, watching Liam as he was escorted away by security. The balance of the cafeteria shifted, and for the first time that day, everyone realized the quiet man at the center of it all wasn't just any teacher. He was in charge, and he would change everything. Mr. Daniel returned to his seat briefly, then straightened, scanning the room with a calm, steady authority that left no doubt. The school's order had shifted, and the quiet observer had become the one in control. Liam froze, staring at Mr. Daniel, disbelief written across his face. You can't do this, he shouted, voice cracking, hands trembling. Students around him whispered, glancing at each other, wide-eyed and stunned. Principal Raymond stepped closer, calm but firm. Liam, you've crossed the line too many times. Your actions have caused fear, and it ends now, he said. You are expelled from Crestwood High. Liam's smirk faltered. Expelled? You're kidding, right? I'm the one everyone listens to. He barked, chest rising and falling rapidly. Mr. Daniel's voice cut through, calm and measured. Intimidation is not leadership, Liam. You confuse fear with respect. That stops here. Liam took a step back, glancing around at the students, hoping someone would step in. Come on, you can't just kick me out like this. You forced this outcome. Principal Raymond said, voice steady. Actions have consequences. You've made your choices. Mr. Daniel's eyes locked onto Liam's. You had control here. Yes, but control earned through fear is fragile. Today you see the difference. People follow respect, not threats. Liam's friends exchanged uneasy glances, unable to speak. One whispered, "Maybe we should just let happen." Liam shook his head violently, desperation creeping in. "No, this isn't fair. I run this school." "You run nothing," Mr. Daniel said, voice calm but sharp. "You've had your chance to lead responsibly. Today shows what happens when you don't." The security staff moved closer, and Liam's face went pale. "You can't. I mean, this isn't right," he stammered, voice barely above a whisper. "Actions have consequences." Principal Raymond repeated, "It's your turn to face them." As Liam was escorted out, students watched in silent awe, whispers filling the room. "Mr. Daniel remained calm, scanning the cafeteria, his presence commanding respect without a single raised voice. The balance of power had shifted completely, and for the first time, Liam felt powerless. The cafeteria was settled into a low hum as Liam was escorted out, the air still tense from the confrontation. "Mr. Daniel straightened, adjusting his sleeves, then looked at the students with calm authority. "Everyone, please return to your tables and finish your lunch." "There's no reason for more chaos," he said, voice steady yet commanding. A boy near the back whispered to his friend, "Did you see that?" He didn't even raise his voice once. Mr. Daniel's gaze swept the room, meeting several curious eyes. "I know it may feel sudden, but what happened was necessary," he said. "Rules exist for a reason, and respect is not optional. It's earned and maintained." One student raised a hand hesitantly. "Sir, will he come back?" "No," Mr. Daniel replied simply. "Today he learned a lesson, and that is enough. This school belongs to everyone, not just those who try to take it by force." Another student asked quietly, "So, you are in charge now?" "Yes," he said, a faint smile appearing briefly. "I am here to guide, not to intimidate. I intend to make sure everyone feels safe and heard. That includes you and anyone who thought otherwise." A murmur of approval spread across a few tables. One boy whispered, "I think we finally have someone who actually cares." Mr. Daniel nodded slightly, then continued, "This isn't about fear. It's about fairness, understanding, and learning. If anyone feels overwhelmed or alone, my door is always open." We moved forward together, not divided by fear or disrespect. Students exchanged glances, the weight of the moment settling in. A few nodded, others whispered quietly to friends, but all sensed the shift. Mr. Daniel stood at the front, silent for a moment, then said softly, "Now finish your lunch calmly. Let's make the rest of the day productive. We've already begun to change things, and it starts with each of you making the right choice." The students settled into their seats, the chatter returning, but quieter, cautious, respectful, aware that the school's balance had shifted and the quiet man at the center was in full control. The lunch bell rang, and students filed out of the cafeteria with a mix of awe and uncertainty. Whispers spread quickly. "Did you see him? He didn't even yell," one student murmured. "Yeah, and Liam is gone," another replied, shaking his head. In the office, Mr. Daniel sat behind the principal's desk, hands folded, eyes scanning the hallway. The PA's system crackled, and his voice came through calm but authoritative. "Attention students and staff," he began. "I know today has been unexpected. I want you all to understand what's happening here." A student in the back whispered, "He sounds so calm. Scary calm." Mr. Daniel continued, "I've spent time observing and listening today. This school can be a place of opportunity, but only if respect and responsibility guide our actions. Bullying, intimidation, and fear have no place here. Everyone deserves to feel safe and valued." A boy asked quietly, "So what happens now?" "Now," Mr. Daniel said firmly, "we work together to create an environment where every student can thrive. If anyone feels alone or unsure, my door is open. No one should feel powerless here." Another student muttered, "He actually means it. You can tell." Mr. Daniel's voice softened slightly, but remained steady. "I'm here to lead, but I cannot do it alone. Each of you plays a part in shaping the school. The choices you make every day matter. Together, we will build a community based on respect, fairness, and understanding. Those unwilling to follow these principles will have to find a place elsewhere. Whispers filled the hall again, but now with a sense of hope.
Wow.
One student said, "Things are different now." Mr. Daniel watched students move through the corridors, calm and composed, a faint smile appearing. "Tomorrow," he said quietly, almost to himself, "marks the first day of a new beginning." The atmosphere had changed. The quiet man who had been underestimated all day now held the school in his hands, ready to guide it toward a future where respect was no longer optional but expected.